Yeah, and and again, I think that's an important point because I think you brought up something which is close to my heart, which is, I mean, there's lots of people looking for help right now, right? But then I look at this world as binary sometimes, which is the givers and the takers, right? And I always look at people who are reaching out with no particular agenda of their own, right? And we keep in contact, and when he or she reaches out to me, I'm going to go all out to help them, right? And then there are people who remain silent for 5 years, and then they reach out when they need something. I know it's kind of not fair, but again, to be honest, I think that's one way I kind of keep a mental balance. So, Jennifer, sticking with you for a minute, right? You mentioned something that I had written up over here, which is at least when I got into cyber many years ago, it was like I had this vision of, hey, there's a big SOC room and there are lots of these flashing screens, and yeah, you get to make decisions and all that. And sometimes when you come in and you said, hey, you got to look at these humongous amount of logs and make decisions and tell people to shut things off, and it's unpopular. So what if somebody comes in and realizes that, hey, I really don't want to be a SOC analyst, right? I really want to do what you like to do, which is, hey, right, focus on strategy and then write policies and so forth. How easy is it to pivot from one area of security to another area once you're already in it?
That's a good question. I'm not sure I know the answer to that one, but I think it can be done, right? But you just have to be true to yourself. If you're unhappy with what you're doing, you have to obviously be on the lookout for new opportunities. You might have to put the time in the SOC, right? Looking at the logs, but you're certainly gaining experience. You're meeting people. So as much as you put into your work, you have to put that into yourself, into, developing your skills, meeting people, working on your resume, figuring out what your skill set is, really defining what type of role that you're looking for. I find that we probably don't spend as much time focusing on our careers and where we want to be professionally in 3 to 5 years as we do in the workplace. I know, at work, if I have a problem, I'm going to attack it from every single angle, but I probably don't do the same thing for my career. I think I've had some good fortune of being in the right place, the right time, and having some success. But I think if anybody who wants to start out in cyber, they have to really figure out what they want to do, how they're going to get there, what skills they're going to need, the people they want to meet, things like that.
So, Leah, again, continuing on the same question, I know of a few guests of mine on the Teflon Tales and even the Tech Talks. I mean, they've worked for companies like Verizon is a great example where they have this program where they actually rotate people over, right? So they even interns I've heard in some companies they come in and literally they spend a week in each department. By the time they kind of finish 8 weeks, they already have a good idea of what. So what have you seen? I know you work with a lot of companies, big and small, and yourself in your career. What have you seen as things that have actually worked so people are able to kind of get a good sense of what is it that they really want and be able to pursue that?
Yeah, and I think just to echo, what Megan and Jennifer said is the understanding the why you want to do it, right? And then figuring out the how and what that looks like and thinking about it broadly. So, networking for sure. The more people you can talk to, you're going to understand what they do and get a good sense to see if it resonates. And then if you can get into a company where you get some experience, and maybe it's not the exact thing that you want to do within cybersecurity, but then I would say have an open mindset to think about what you're doing currently. If you don't love it, okay, that's fine. Can you change that and when, and figure that out? But then also look at the things that you are doing and think through how is that going to get you to where you want to go next? And then focus on that, right? Because, at the end of the day, trying to stay positive, motivated, and happy, regardless of the situation, and see things from perspective, to be able to navigate in your career and use that to help, right? I think is important. And I think it's any hands-on that you can probably get in the field is going to be, maybe I would recommend don't pass it up if you can at least do it, even if you don't love it, because at least that gets you your foot in the door. And I think Megan even talked a little bit about this, but we have to take control of our lives personally and professionally. And so make the most of how you do that, and find that group of support, and focus on, in the present, on what you're learning and how you can use that to advance, and what you want to do, all based on the why you're getting into it. I think it's huge. But take the opportunities to have, if you do work in those companies and can move around, do it, because that, I think, you don't know something if you don't try it. But if you know you don't love something currently, try something else, and then try to find that path. And again, your network of people and giving back, you're going to get the help back too. I think it goes in full circle.
Yeah, great segue about giving back, because Megan, I know you and I connected less than 3 weeks ago, but I've already seen the amount of give back that you do publicly. So talk a little bit about, even while kind of staying at the periphery and trying to break in, I look at you as a cybersecurity professional, right? Just given the amount of work that you're doing on the outside, I know people on the inside who do less than you, right? So what has your experience been, even kind of sitting on the anvil, if you will, but doing so much as not only for yourself, but for the larger community? What have you learned?
Yeah, it's been so tremendous. When I was entering into first, looking at like, well, how am I going to network and meet people with COVID going on as well too, right? It's not like I can go to B-sides in person. It's not that I can do this or that and meet up with people. And I thought, well, I'm going to actually just cold contact people and see what happens. And, maybe I won't hear back, or maybe I will. And just the response has been tremendous. People have connected back to me. I've asked people questions. I kind of do this thing where I send a message and I'm like, hey, this is who I am. Would you be willing to talk with me about what you do, and like have a virtual coffee chat? And that's been just so fundamental for my understanding of where various people are in security and in privacy as well, and what they do in those fields. I've met some wonderful people, and then they might connect me with someone else, like exactly like how Alexandre connected me with you, Ashwin, and then Leah, you jumped in too. And so you just never know where one thing is going to lead you. I'm always kind of just looking for different ways to do that continual learning piece. So LinkedIn has been really excellent for that, because you can literally see what are different events coming up, and it might be something you hadn't heard about, and then that can be really quite excellent. As well as just kind of doing Google searches for, what's happening in security. I have a Feedly that I have set up so I can be paying attention to different things in the news, and then events as well. One thing I think that's really good to think about is, this is where I am now, and this Jennifer kind of spoke about, but if I want to do this continual invest in myself, what do I want to be doing in the future? And so I went to the SANS New to Cyber Summit yesterday, and one of the speakers there, Ryan Kovar, was talking about this concept of having, instead of in my, here's my list of things I want to do, having a career bucket list. And having these big concepts around, I would like to accomplish this, or I would like to accomplish that. I want to go to DEF CON and see what that whole process is like. And then thinking about backwards planning from, okay, this is my bucket list I've created for my career. How will I then achieve those? And I found that a really good way to put that, and just thinking about, what one might want to do later on down the line and what big accomplishments they might want to make. But everything along this journey has, just been really excellent. I applied for a couple different things with women in cybersecurity, and was able to get into the RSA conference as an attendee. I additionally did the US Cyber Challenge, and just found out earlier this week that I got in for their week-long professional development this summer. So I'd placed within the top 100 for US challengers, and then I got the invite to be able to come to that professional development. So it's really trying to, I believe really much so in Carpe Diem. If you see my LinkedIn, it has that as part of the phrase, and it's something that's near and dear to my heart, that there are things out there, and how can we seize those opportunities, and how can we make that most of our time?
Yeah, I mean, so when you say Carpe Diem, for me, it's like Robin Williams and Dead Poets Society, right? And what he does with those students over there.